Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Universalist Unitarian Congregation of Phoenix. What, are you so surprised?
Unitarian Universalist.
Oh, did I say it wrong? Oh, wow. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix. I know, right. Low bar here. I'm Benji Messer, music director. I use he, him pronouns. I'm very glad to have our choir and Taylise on piano with me today. Today's service considers issues of anti-black racism, and so all of our music is drawn from the African-American heritage. Our opening hymn is the old spiritual Hush. Please rise in body or spirit and sing it with us. Hush is the first verse. Hush. Let's go back to the first verse. I think that's the second or third. There we go. Oh, no. Here we go. Hush. Hush. Somebody's calling my name. Hush. Sounds like freedom. Sounds like justice. This is a hymn about death. Here's that verse. Soon one morning, death come creeping in my room. Oh, soon one morning, death come creeping in my room. Soon one morning. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Trouble don't last always. Oh, I'm so glad. Trouble don't last always. I'm so glad. Trouble don't last always. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? What shall I do? Y'all sound beautiful. Please remain standing for our chalice lighting.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm John Palumbo. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm your worship associate today. Join me as we recite our covenant, and Jeff Anderla lights our chalice. If you're watching remotely and have a chalice with you, please light it with us. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to share our strength in fellowship, thus do we covenant. Please be seated.
Good morning. Welcome to this service. My name is the Reverend Christine Dance. I use she and her pronouns. And if the Mercury win today and go on to the finals, your minister is going to lose her mind. In this sacred space, we celebrate our humanity, our diversity, and the boundless love that unites us all. The Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix strives to be a spiritual community for our time. And oh, do we need it in our time. We are theologically diverse, radically inclusive, and justice-centered. Our doors swing wide open to embrace all who are seeking a welcoming place. May our worship today be a source of inspiration, a comfort in challenging times, and a call to action. If you are new here, we are so glad you found us. I met a number of new people coming in, and someone who hasn't been back for like 40-some years. Would you wave and just say hi if you are new here today with us? Yes, hello. Welcome. We are so thrilled to have you. Each Sunday is different here, so please come back a few times to really get to know us. I do have a few announcements. We do have an election day this year on November 4th. It's rapidly approaching. Given the current and political environment, your civic engagement team urges you to confirm that your registration is active. You can find a link on Compass, or if you would like, see us at the back table. Brad's right back there. If you would like to learn more about Unitarian Universalism and UUCP here, come to our starting point session on the morning of Saturday, October 18th from 9 to 1. You're going to get a better understanding of who we are, what we stand for, and get to meet a bunch of other new folks as well. Bagel, fruits, coffee, and juice are an added bonus. See Compass to register. And today at noon, our new group for our LGBTQ plus folks is gathering. Join the Rainbow Coalition group to come together, share stories, and set the tone for our group's journey together. If you are looking for community and connection and a safe place to belong, join us in Annex B. It's down the hall. There's a door out and just across the patio there to Annex B. And now, let us settle in. Let us calm our hearts. Let us draw deeper into the present moment and into our worship.
Our opening words are from Peter Bromberg, who says, "When we avoid difficult conversations, we trade short-term discomfort for long-term dysfunction." I now invite anyone who would like to come forward for Together Time.
And while we are having everyone come up, can we say hello to all of our folks joining us online? Hello to everyone on Zoom. Feel free to put on your camera and wave. Hello! Hello, all of you beautiful people. And let's send them hearts. Yes, beautiful, wonderful. So hi, everyone. How are you? Good. So who here has ever had a discussion before? Have you had a discussion before, Oliver? You've had some discussions? What? You've not? So that I know what to say. I'm just going to be totally transparent because I don't remember much anymore, so I have this with my words on it. That's why I hold that. Yeah. So what would you all say a discussion is? What is a discussion? You know what you want to say? Or was that a touching your face, or was that a I know what a discussion is? You want to say anything in the mic, or are you comfortable? Only if you're comfortable.
People talk.
Yes, when people talk. Together, that's a key piece of it, right? Because we can talk, but a discussion is actually when we do it together, and hopefully when we hear each other. Do you know what a discussion is too?
Talking with people for a long time together.
Yes, talking with people for a long time, because sometimes it takes a long time to actually really hear and share your feelings and what your thoughts are, right? So sometimes the together, and sometimes it's not just a quick hello, right? A discussion is more than that. So I would like to do a little exercise if you all are open for that. I like interactive ones. So if you're okay with standing, would you stand here? And we're going to have a spectrum, which kind of means we're going to have a range. So over where Emrys is, that's going to represent easy. And over here where Oliver is, that's going to represent hard. All right? So I want you to think about some discussions you've had, and rest of the congregation, I want you to think about where you'll be on this as well. So, is it easy or hard to have a discussion of what should we have for dinner? It's not clear cut, people. Yeah, I was going to say, it's not. You would think that would be clear cut. Not always. Okay. So see, right off the bat, we have a sense, very easy for these two. You're fine, what's ever in the fridge, we're good. To, oh, what are we all going to have that we can, I'm so tired of trying to figure out what we're going to have for dinner tonight. You guys are in the middle. Is that easy, hard for you? We have 6 people. So it's trying to figure out something that can work for all of them. Okay, a discussion from easy to hard. How was your day today? Easy or hard? I know, there's some thinking on this. Like, it all depends. Okay, so no one's saying it's really hard, but no one's saying it's the easiest discussion over here. Jez, is that sometimes depends? Is it sometimes hard, sometimes easy? I'm going with the flow, Reverend Christine, yes. Okay, a discussion around either with youth or adults. Why do people hate each other? Is that easy or is that hard? You're doing more than going with the flow now. You have an answer? Okay, excellent. I would love to hear it.
It's the root of many problems are systemic racism.
There's the answer. The answer, you know the answer. Excellent. Okay, so nice range here. Sometimes it can be really easy, sometimes it can be hard. How about this one? Do we want to go out and play? Easy or hard? We have a split decision in the family. I see how this works. So, and then, so Jez said the root of that is racism. So what is racism? Is that an easy conversation or is that a difficult conversation? Is it a hard one or an easy one? Is it a hard one? Yeah, is that hard? Yeah. You want to say that in the microphone? Yeah, sometimes what?
Daddy, when he makes dinner, it takes distraction.
Yeah, we're still back at how hard it is to do dinner. That is also, I mean, that's similar. Okay, so we're seeing a real range here today. And then the final one for you, a conversation of, do you love me? Is that easy or is that hard? Yeah? Is that... You want to say that out loud?
My mom and dad and my brother and sister, and it's so me because it's so fun, and every time he does just try to go outside, and yesterday when it rained, and after the rain was done, rain actually snowed.
Yes.
We did a walk around.
That's awesome. Okay, I needed that discussion. Didn't you all need that discussion? Wonderful. Okay, thank you all for this exercise. This was a simple or not so simple way to show that some conversations are easy, some conversations are hard, and they're not all the same for everyone, right? What we might think is easy could be difficult for somebody else, and at the end of the day, we still need to figure out what we're going to have for dinner, right? But we have these conversations all the time. Hopefully, they are all done with love. They are done with love and respect and recognizing that someone else is a human being just like we are. And when they are done with love, hopefully all the conversations and discussions can be made easier. So thank you for coming up. You can return to your seats. Thank you for being my human demonstrations.
Each week, we split our offering between the congregation and an organization that shares our values. For September, our Share the Plate partner is Gabriel's Angels. Gabriel's Angels helps children learn, heal, and grow through life-changing pet therapy. They provide goal-related pet therapy visits that improve the quality of youth's lives through the power of the human-animal bond, teaching core behaviors that they might struggle to learn through traditional channels. Their therapy programs are delivered to schools, shelters, and other youth-serving organizations free of charge. For all that you give, we are so grateful. Ushers, thank you for your willing hands in helping us pass the plate.
we recognize that our lives are interconnected. Part of our journey as a community is sharing our significant milestones, our joys, and our sorrows. You can put a note in the chat in Zoom, and next week, if you want, there are cards at the back table in the back of the sanctuary where you can share. So today we have a few of them in the cards, and we have from Johnny Lifshitz on behalf of UUCP. This was something that Karen and I said on the way in. The rain stayed outside of UUCP. The roofs did their job. No shop vacs or brooms anymore. For those of you who are new to UUCP, when it used to rain, it just rained right into our children's ministry spaces, and we would have to come and clean them up at every rain. And hooray for that not happening anymore. From Sam and Michelle, happy heavenly birthday to Carrie Turman, who would have been 69 today. Happy birthday. And from Pete Creelman, gives thanks to our caring team who came by his house this week to drop off a caring card and wishing him the best on his cancer treatment. We're so glad to be able to care for you, Pete. And from Jade in our sound booth, progress. I finally got transportation in the form of a new motorcycle, and I was still late. But we are glad for transportation. May our joys and our sorrows, those named and those held in the silent sanctuaries of our heart, help us draw closer and care for each other. I invite Isaac Castro, our ministerial intern, to come up for our meditation prayer.
I invite you into a time of meditation and prayer. Before coming to UUCP, I was a chaplain at a hospital. I spent a lot of time being present with folks through some of the most challenging times in their lives. That experience has led me to meditate, reflect, and pray about my time alongside all of you at UUCP. This is my prayer for us. I pray that we love one another, to be celebrating with each other during our shared joyful times, to offer deep empathy when any of us is going through tough times, to listen to each other more when others are sharing, to have an appreciation of another's perspective when it differs from our own, to be in the space with each other even when we don't know what else to offer, to care for one another during these turbulent times our world is experiencing, to share our love for each other unapologetically. We are all part of this sacred community for a reason. We hold our faith centered in love, so let us center love for one another. Let it be so.
Our middle hymn is a spiritual of asking for help. You can sing the whole thing, or you can do it as a call and response and just respond while I run this race. Choir, please rise. Give them a minute to sit. Hold my hand. Hold my hand. Let's stand, everyone. Stand by me. Search my heart. Please be seated.
For 5 months, from March to July, while Reverend Christine Dance was on sabbatical, we had the honor to have several different preachers lead worship with us. On the last 2 Sundays before Reverend Christine returned, Reverend Yadni Hailu graced our pulpit. In her second service, after feeling both safe and courageous to speak her truth, she brought up feelings she felt after seeing the statues in our memorial garden. Without knowing the context of the art, but knowing the context of her heart, she said some difficult and uncomfortable words to us. These words and thoughts about the statue over the years are the foundation of this service. Instead of paraphrasing what Reverend Yadni said, we'd like to share her words with you with her permission.
Okay, we're on the same team, right? That feels good. Okay. After my sermon last week, I wanted to walk in the memorial garden to decompress. And I'm usually like a huge fan of like art and statues, so I walked over, and when I read the plaque, I felt a familiar drop in my gut. Those 4 adult, naked women were supposed to represent the 4 children who were killed by a domestic terrorist in 1963. I don't get it. I don't know what could be highlighted about dignity, about personhood, about truth or love by depicting them as adults in these obscure poses without clothes. I felt pretty gross and disappointed and annoyed when I tried to understand what the artist is portraying. When I read the patterns from my vantage point as a Black woman, I see the stories of girls being forced to grow up too fast or to be sexualized as part of their value. African descendants from Africa depicted nude doesn't exist without a context. As a Black person, I know the American story strips people who look like me from dignity, from protection, from care, from privacy. There was no subversion of tropes. There was no reframing. Look it up, babe, I said. I know it's a white guy. It's a white guy. I just can't believe it's here. I told my husband, and he did look it up, and I sighed in front of the woman holding a cloth in her arms. How often I've seen my aunties, my mom, how much I've seen them asked to give, how much I've been asked to give from emptiness. Tragedy presented tragically. She doesn't even have clothing for herself, but she has some in her open arms. I continued walking around, and I saw one woman, looks like her hands and her hair like this. Frustration? I wondered. Like the constant frustration of being in a society that doesn't get your humanity? Is that what she's missing out on by being murdered? She doesn't get to grow up and endure the generally dehumanizing and the sort of sexualizing gaze of whiteness? I don't get it. Instead of transported to this reminder of life or a monument for the children's inherent value, I saw a chopped up story of American mess and wrapped up in grief on display. I don't think he artistically reframed truth. I felt like, well-intended or not, he added to the crime of erasing the kids. I plopped down on one of the benches thinking, well-meaning UUs, what are we going to do? Who's going to tell them? Well, the statues are older than me. Do they already know how icky it is? Do they love the statue? They probably love statues. Statues probably represent something in the community. If they're right here in the memorial garden, okay. Well, I'm not in this community, I'm visiting, so. But would they update the story so someone like me doesn't feel alone in this dissonance? I sat on the bench thinking, does it matter that I, a random black woman, 30, from Tulsa, Oklahoma, of Ethiopian descent, feels insulted by some art? I thought of the inherent value of life, for the principles of Unitarian Universalism. I thought of the pattern of life, which examines stories to build strong communities. It does matter. It matters like having a bathroom that anyone can go in does. It matters like having an accessible entrance. It matters like having a rainbow flag to sign that you are safe. It matters in this context. We can debate the past, but in the present, these are a very weird tone to have to memorialize dead children. These statues, to me, do not depict what I feel is the heart of UUCP. The love, the devotion, the empathy, the solidarity with the marginalized, a respect for life, reverence for Denise and Addie and Carol and Cynthia. I believe wholeheartedly the inherent value of countless children victimized by unexamined stories deserves a monument. I think this is a great community that could care for it. But I didn't get any of that from the statues out there. I told Reverend Christine, and she listened like it mattered. I obviously told my husband while we were looking at them, my mom, my sister, and their reactions mirrored my own, validating I'm not saying something that's totally out of left field. It is weird. And now I said it to you.
I lived in Cincinnati, Ohio in the 1990s. It was a wild time in Cincinnati. It was middle America, Ohio, but Cincinnati had very strong German and Catholic roots. People from Cincinnati identified first with what Catholic parish they went to, and often what Catholic school they attended. It was a town where there was an east side and a west side, and the people rarely went to the other side. Many of them had grown up there, as had their parents and their grandparents. There were a few pockets of progressiveness, shout out to the 3 Unitarian Universalist congregations in Cincinnati, but tradition rang strong. In 1990, the Cincinnati Contemporary Arts Center showed an exhibit of Robert Mapplethorpe photographs. How many of you know Robert Mapplethorpe? Robert Mapplethorpe was an American photographer, best known for his black and white photographs. His work featured an array of subjects, including celebrity portraits, male and female nudes, self-portraits, and still life images. The exhibit included nude photographs, including some photographs of men in sadomasochistic poses. While the exhibit created a stir in other cities where it had been exhibited, Cincinnati took it to another level. The Contemporary Art Center and its then director, Dennis Berry, were arrested and charged with pandering obscenity. After much stir and an incidental exponential interest in the photos and increased value of all Robert Mapplethorpe photographs, a jury returned a not guilty verdict. This case, among others, led to a great debate on whether tax dollars should support the arts. And if so, who decides what is offensive or obscene? And if art can be considered a form of free speech, is it a violation of the First Amendment to censor art? It is, to this day, an issue that comes up often. I was still a young adult, and Cincinnati being on the map for this issue was really intriguing for me. I was, and still am, someone who loves to talk about deeper issues, and it brought up a lot of nuances and perspectives for me. Frankly, it made art more interesting for me. This controversy comes up in my mind often. Karen Finley, who is an American performance artist, musician, poet, and educator, was also attacked by notables such as Jesse Helms for decency issues around the same time. She had strong words about art that pushed boundaries. She said, "Art as transgression or any transgressive act becomes a Rorschach test for the culture it comes out of. In one sense, transgressive art is a kind of psychic problem solving at the cultural level. It looks head on at unresolved hostilities, humiliations, and traumas. It offers catharsis, and you could say that it's only in the aftermath of catharsis that healing is possible. But the culture is not ready to face those hostilities, humiliations, traumas. Then it responds with tremendous anxiety which is often expressed as hostility towards the artist." So that is about Karen Finley and about Robert Mapplethorpe. But some of those words I bring into this context as well. These statues were created following the killing of 4 girls in a church bombing in 1963, and the art was by the artist John Waddell. Waddell was compelled to make the statues after the bombing of the 16th Street Baptist Church by members of the Ku Klux Klan on September 15th, 1963. Yes, the anniversary was just a little bit ago. 4 girls were killed in the bombing: Addie Mae Collins, who was 14, Cynthia Wesley was 14, Carol Robertson was 14, and Carol Denise McNair was 11. In what could arguably be considered his most famous piece of art, the art is entitled "That Which Might Have Been," Birmingham, 1963. Waddell describes the piece this way: "The total group stands as a prayer of atonement and symbolizes the unfulfilled maturity of the 4 black girls killed in the church bombing in Birmingham, Alabama on September 15th, 1963. The total group implies nobility, perseverance, and hope. The negative space in the center of the 4 figures implies the base of a vortex reaching heavenward and suggests the need and desire for supernatural aid. On the raised hand of the figure facing northward is written the word prayer. The overtone of the total group is earnest hope for understanding among humankind." At the dedication of the art at UUCP, Waddell said the following: "From a world torn asunder by artificial and meaningless barriers where differences create misunderstanding and fear, we look to a future of harmony and peace, where differences quicken interest, reveal beauty, and create a desire to understand. To the achievement of such a world, we dedicate this art, keeping in memory the lives of those innocents memorialized herein." Now, you need to know that there has been controversy around these statues basically since the inception. This is not new in 2025. Some of that controversy remains, and some of it is new with our evolving understanding of race, sexualization of Black bodies, and the impact and basically our consciousness thinking about the role of statues and what they mean in our public spaces. A little bit of a history of some of that context is Waddell made 2 casts of this piece of art. Around 1992, just before the 30th year anniversary of the bombing, Reverend Christopher M. Hamlin from the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham led a campaign to bring the sculptures to Birmingham. Hamlin traveled to Arizona to see the work and meet the artist. John and Ruth Waddell used personal funds to recast the work, and the Waddells traveled to Birmingham to talk to the families. And in the end, one of the families did not like the girls being nude, and therefore the second casting never made it to Birmingham. It is currently at the George Washington Carver Museum and Cultural Center here in downtown Phoenix. According to one of the newspaper articles about the statues, the UUA, our denomination in Boston, their anti-racism task force, sent a letter decrying the statues and stated that they should be removed. The letter stated, "The statue is weighted with both historic and contemporary symbols of oppression," it reads. "Among these is the historic availability of Black women as sexual objects to white men, the definition of the future of these girls as one being merely sexual objects, and the visual similarity to the statues to depictions of slave auction blocks." Waddell's daughter, Amy, who I actually spoke to last week about this, is quoted in one of the articles saying, "Amy said her father listened closely to the criticism and never took it personally. She says, he knew the history of America and he understood where that was coming from," she said. "His intent was to really honor those families and those girls and to put a stamp on that moment and say never again." So there's some context. It's important that we not look at those statues just as they are now and act like they just showed up last week and we don't know the intent, the thought, and the history behind them. Context matters. And context is not all that matters. There are several things that are true, and remember how important, I say it all the time, that we recognize that several things can be true at the same time. John Henry Waddell was a white man. He used white models to pose for the statues. The statues were supposed to be symbolic of the future that the little girls represented, not the girls themselves. That was his intent, no matter what the impact is, and we know that there is a difference between intent and impact. John was a fierce champion for racial justice and progressive values. He was a close friend with Eugene Grigsby, a Black artist who was a very, very influential member of this congregation, who was a big champion of having these statues here on our campus. As you saw in the photos, the statues used to stand in water, and water is difficult to keep flowing in the desert. They are now surrounded by rocks after several attempts to keep water pumps functioning in the dry and the heat, and they failed. Waddell did the majority of his statues in the nude, as have artists throughout time. This includes his nude dancers that are in front of the Herberger Theater downtown. He's quoted saying, "The taboo against the human form in our society is very great, and yet at base, almost everyone will agree that the human form is beautiful. Besides, clothing dates a piece almost immediately." Black bodies, especially female Black bodies, have been over-sexualized for hundreds, if not thousands of years. We have evolved in our thinking about race, acknowledging that our own social location changes how we experience and perceive race. There has been much more focus on statues in the last few decades, recognizing what has been commemorated, why, and what the legacy of some of those statues are, including listening to the voices who are most harmed by the impact of statues. Some Black members of this congregation love these statues. Some Black members of this congregation don't like them. Some white members of this congregation love these statues. Some white members don't like them. Those are all truths, all at the same time. So let me name another truth. Reverend Yadini, who is a dear friend of mine, preached the week before I came back. And recency bias being what it is, a lot of you wanted to speak to me about it immediately. Some of you said, many, I would say like a dozen, what are we going to do about the statues? That was the most popular question I had. Some of you said, I agree with Reverend Yadini. Some of you said, we're not getting rid of the statues, are we? All of these are reasonable questions. But I want to note, and I spent a lot of time reflecting on what all of those questions had in common. They all implied two things. First of all, asking me what we were going to do. And they all implied a rush to a decision. What are we going to do about the issues of the statues? I found this really interesting, and I thought about it a lot. What did it mean that everyone was asking, what are we going to do? After them existing for 61 years and being on this campus for all of that time, how are we going to make a decision quickly and have this over with? Even the assumption that we had to do something, much less that we had to do it right away, is an assumption. Personally, I think that this is a sign of white supremacy culture that I have had to counter in myself. The rush to do something rather than exist in the discomfort that not doing something often requires. I often find that we want to move right to action without going through the steps of discernment because, let's admit it, living in all of the questions, exploring all of the nuances, having differences of opinion, and possibly real conflict where someone could get mad at me, and having all that time where we don't know the ending and the outcome and the decision can be downright uncomfortable, anxiety-provoking, complicated. And here's another truth. This congregation can do whatever it wants. These statues were put on our property 9 ministers ago. 9. There will be ministers that come after me. And as much as you might want me to be, I am not queen of this congregation. There is not a single scenario in which I will stand here from this pulpit that all of those 9 other ministers have preached from and state, hear ye, this is my official proclamation of what we shall do about the statues. You're laughing because it's true, right? That is not my role. That role belongs to you, to the members of this congregation, if you choose to take it on. My role is to help us think of the most thoughtful, moral, inclusive, love-oriented ways to help us think about difficult situations. And I have to tell you, I've thought about this one a lot. I thought about it for many years and was thinking, oh, we should preach about this sometime, and then a pandemic and white supremacists and a lot of chaos. And we're still in a lot of chaos, and yet here we are. Instead of telling you what to do, I'd like to propose a challenge to you, this UUCP congregation. This is one that our ministerial intern, Isaac Castro, and I are willing to help you with, to hold the container for. My challenge to you is the following. I challenge you to put aside the white supremacy culture of urgency thinking and live in some of this discomfort. I challenge you to not make a decision about the statues for at least 1 year. This is a way to make sure that we have some boundaries around it, that we don't go, oh, wait, this is more uncomfortable than I thought. Can we just please make a decision? I challenge you that in this year you participate in a series of discussions about the many different aspects of this topic and really engage in this discussion. We have the opportunity to not just talk about the statues, but about all of the issues that are related to them. Let's learn more of the history of the 1963 Birmingham bombing. Let's learn more about what each of the figures represents and how the artists crafted them. We have all of that in John Waddell's own words. Let's talk about the role of art in social activism, what role it plays, what role it doesn't. Let's talk about our own individual identities around race and gender and class and how that changes our perspectives, and that people with the same identities can have different opinions. Let's talk about the history of how Black bodies have been depicted and the impact of that on our society. Let's talk about the responsibility of white artists depicting Black bodies. Let's talk about exploring how you feel, what you think, how this art moves you in one way or another, or doesn't, and digging into why that might be. I challenge each and every one of you, whether this is your first time here today or you have been here since the statues went up. Is there anyone? There's people here who have been close to that, but a lot of us are new since then. But I challenge you to go out into the memorial garden and sit with the art. Explore both what your mind is saying to you, but also what your heart is saying. Be open that it may be saying multiple things to you, or that you don't know if it's saying anything at all. I challenge you that even after a year, you don't have to make a decision, or you can make a decision. It's your choice. And you have options beyond, do we keep them or not? You could decide at the very least there needs to be a placard that explains some of the context. All we have right now is the name of the art and the name of the artist. That's all Reverend Yadney had to go on. Maybe we should describe the context, the meeting. Maybe we should even write how we spent some time discerning about it and what we came to around it. That will be your choice in a year. The other reason I am challenging you to have these conversations, and one of the reasons I think that now is the ideal time to do this, is that having courageous conversations is a skill that we are sadly losing in our culture. If anything, the last 2 weeks has amplified this, and it is amplifying rapidly, my beloveds, rapidly. How many of you have people you used to be able to have rich conversations with and now can't converse with at all? Yeah. How does that feel? What are some words of how that feels? Awful. It hurts. It hurts, painful, sad. Yeah. What's that? Ugly. Lonely. Ridiculous. Sad. The opposite of love. Frightening. Yeah. Unchallenged. Woo. Yeah. These are not words we want in our congregation, are they? No. We are seeing that if people have a disagreement, they cut each other out of their lives. They denigrate them. They find people to gang up on them. We triangulate to talk about them with somebody else. And worse, as we have seen in the last 2 weeks, where someone disagreed with a political figure or ICE agents, and I'm sad to say there was a shooting at a Mormon church this morning. They show up and they kill them. What kind of society is this? It has become not only difficult to have conversations where we disagree, it has become dangerous. Here at UUCP, I believe that one of the main reasons we are here together is to practice being the type of people and the type of community we want to see in the wider world. So, my beloveds, I am urging you to practice being these people. If you can't do it with other people in your life, we can do it with each other. We can do it. Can we practice all the things that can come out of this exercise, including having multiple perspectives on an issue, still respecting and caring for a person even if they have differing views on this issue, being open to being convinced one way or another, or being open to trying to convince someone else without denigrating them, casting them as evil, racist, immature, or uninformed? Can we practice learning about how another person thinks and honoring the dignity and worthiness that that person still has and that their beliefs are still valid? Here's the thing. Right now, many of the conversations in our society are so very difficult because what we are arguing about is literally the ability for some people to exist. Those are hard conversations. If you are asking someone not only whether trans people really exist, yes, they do, whether they are able to exist in the way that feels whole to them, yes, they should. If people are illegal, no, they are humans. Whether people are allowed to love who they want, yes, they can. These conversations are almost impossible when we can't even agree on the definition of someone's humanity. That is what is splitting us apart. But we can talk about art. I know we can. I know that this community is thoughtful, can handle nuance, can hold people's rights to having different opinions, can still love each other in our differences. And I think practicing this is not just an exercise of the statues in our backyard, but it is a critical skill for how we make it through these hellscape years. I actually think that the artist John Waddell, who died in 2020, right before the pandemic, would get a kick out of this. He knew that there was controversy around the statues. He embraced controversy. I have heard amazing stories about him, but I want to think that he would appreciate it that we are using his art 61 years later as a tool for discussion, reflection, and learning how to be a better humans when he was making art for a time when we were having problems being better humans. After all, is that not the goal of art? So as a reminder, I don't have a horse in this race. I have opinions. But so do you. So do you. And that's all they are, is my individual opinions. My priority is to create an environment where we can courageously talk to each other, where we can learn, where we can practice. This is an invitation to you. So what do you think? Do you want to take me up on my invitation? Okay. Do you want to think about the nuances and recognize the different opinions? Yes. Do you want to practice this so that we can be better at having courageous conversations in the difficult times that we still have ahead of us? Yes. And can we commit to having these conversations with the values that we cherish: respect, love at the center, worthiness, care, dignity? Yes. Awesome. Let's get on with it then. Let's go be the world that we want to live in. Amen.
Amen, everyone. Thank you, Rev. Christine. We close with a spiritual about working things out in peace together down by the riverside. And I got to sing this last year as a call and response, and I'll never do it any other way again. It's such a pleasure. So I'll say what I'm going to do. Like on the first lyric slide, I'll say something. I'm going to something. Go to the first lyric slide, just so for folks who don't know it. And you'll say, down by the riverside. Down by the riverside, down by the riverside. You know, I'll say what I'm going to do. Down by the riverside and study war no more. And then there's a chorus at some point. That's the next slide. I ain't going to study war no more a bunch of times. All right, so you got it? We don't need the lyrics anymore. All right, we can take those away. All right, everybody please rise in body or spirit, and let's do this. I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside. Down by the riverside. Down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside. And I'm gonna study and study war no more. You know what else? I'm gonna lay down my heavy load down by the riverside. Down by the riverside. Down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my heavy load down by the riverside. And study war no more. I ain't gonna study. I ain't gonna study war no more. 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 Let's keep this going a little longer. I say I'm gonna shake hands around the world down by the riverside. Down by the riverside. Down by the riverside. I'm gonna shake hands around the world down by the riverside. And study I'm gonna walk down that road of peace. Down by the riverside. Down by the riverside. Yeah, down by the riverside. I'm gonna walk down that road of peace. Oh, down by study war no more. I ain't gonna Please remain standing for our chalice lighting.
After service ends, noon activities will be listed on the screen. Our newly renovated Johnson Room is open for coffee hour with refreshments, tables, and chairs this week. Okay. Reverend Christine, please close our service.
There will be opportunities to have these discussions. We'll be sharing more with you. We will have community discussions. We will have books where you can read about the artist's intent with the art. There is an exploration of all of John Waddell's art in Sedona in November. Watch for it, engage with it. It is not just for here. Our world is depending on it. Unitarian Universalist Wayne Arneson says, "Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. Go in peace, go in love."